Have you ever been at the wrong place at the wrong time, but throughout life you kind of figured out just pondering stuff, you're exactly where you needed to be, exactly when you needed to be there? Then you've learned these lessons from this one incident thing. That's kind of what today's story is about. About my first run with the fishing game in Alaska. I almost got arrested. I thought I was in trouble actually, and I was just a kid, teenager, first time. I don't have a criminal record. I don't have no speeding tickets, but I do have a couple fishing game violations in a couple different states. But what do you do? This is a story about the first time though. And it's also going to answer the question of why I talk about poachers and bring up poaching news and why I go look for these things. And these articles that I write are written from news releases or court cases that I've followed. I don't take other people's stories and reword them into my own. Like these are from court cases. I've always been this way since this story actually opened my eyes to what poaching is and what it can do and how much it's problem it's caused the planet. Word. But so it was like 94, 95. My dad was in the Coast Guard. We got stationed in Alaska on this island called Kodiak. Basically had one river to fish. So there's more than that. But where we were at was one river. The other river was pretty far away. It's by car. We didn't have licenses. Obviously, we had bikes. When we moved there in the summertime, I fished with my dad. It was the first time I'd actually seen him catch salmon or even fish for salmon. It was crazy, dude. I thought he was like a salmon fish wizard. Well, he would just catch fish, use spinning glows or flashing glows. The spinner, inline spinner with the two red beads, silver spoon, spinner. That's what he used all the time, and he would just dominate fish. But he grew up in the Willapa River using that and over in Washington. But before that, I just seen him catch, we just got catfish, bobber and worm style. Nothing great. I thought, yeah, for sure, like he was just some genius fishing after that point. I was blown away. And then, so that summer goes by, he teaches me these things. I only had two rules on the Buskin River. You can fish from the mouth to Bridge 1, and Bridge 1 was just a pole, like on the bank of the river with a sign that said, this is Bridge 1. So you get to a certain point, you couldn't fish past this bridge, which wasn't a bridge, just a pylon, like I said. And the fish were smart enough, they knew that you couldn't, or it seemed that they know that you couldn't fish past that pole, because they would come up the mouth, probably a quarter mile, and you could fish that whole entire thing. But at Bridge 1, you could just see the backs of salmon, like as far as the eye could see. It was just this dark cover of just salmon backs. It's the crazy to see a flash every now and then when they moved. It was crazy. Crazy. The other rule was don't snack. Those are the only two rules that I knew. And basically, Dad got me an ugly stick with a big, nasty beach rods. The ugly stick, I don't know if you've seen it, and then this quantum rail. It made a lot of clicking noises. 20-pound test in a box, a backpack, and just kind of sent me on my way to do my own thing after you like showed me the ropes the summer previously. Well, this next summer, me and my buddy Randy would get up every summer early, get on our bikes, and go hit these trails and go fishing. And most people were working during the week, so we had basically the river to ourselves. There's a couple other kids and stuff there, but for the most part, it was just us. But the weekends, the bank would fill up with people, visitors, people coming off work, all the Coast Guard dudes, and all that stuff. So we were always trying to find new spots and stuff. So we ended up going on this one adventure on like a Saturday. Took off. And instead of going towards the mouth, we cut off right and went to these woods. Just like stupid thinking about it now. Like all these bears and foxes that could have been out there doing their own thing. But we didn't come to any of that. But so we ended up going to this clear cut. The river's at the bank. And we get there. And the bank is covered with dead salmon. And they're still chrome and shiny. But to our knowledge, they just spawned and died over. Or maybe a bear got them. There must have been like 15 fish there. It was crazy, man. So anyway, we continue fishing. We catch our limits. My limit was 2 because I couldn't carry any more than that on my bike to go back. It was like a 3-mile trip. So we put the fish in our bags, and all of a sudden this guy just appears. It's an older man. He's like, "What are you guys doing? You're not supposed to be here. You're past Bridge 1." We're like, "Oh, we thought we were on a different river. We didn't know." And then he asks us about all these dead fish. We're like, "Yeah, we don't know about none of that." Hell, sure, when we got here, we assumed bear or they spawned. Like the guy didn't say anything. He goes, "Well, you're not supposed to be here. I heard fishing games in the area. You should probably get out of here." We're like, "All right. Cool." So we pack our stuff and we leave. We don't think anything about it. I don't know what fishing game it is at this point. What are you talking about? Game. What are we playing? But anyway, we get in our bikes. We start heading back home. We hit the main trail, and that's where we got stopped by a fish and game officer. There's a lady, female. I don't remember her name. So, "What are you guys doing here? You're not supposed to be fishing over in this area. Did you have any fish on you?" Like, I can't hide this. My backpack's like falling off my back. Like, "Yeah, we got some fish, so we'll have to confiscate those. They're going to go to the shelter to feed the homeless or the less fortunate." Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, we didn't really understand what we knew what we did. We just explained to us pretty well. Like, you can't fish here for reasons. That's the law. It doesn't open up until this point. Well, she took our names, our addresses, and let us on our way. And I thought that was it. Like in the story, like, okay, we can't fish it. They'll take our fish. I don't know what the game part of this fish is, but we'll take it. So anyway, so we go back home. Randy goes to his house. I go back to my house. It was like right before dinner. Knock on the door, dude. And sure enough, it's that fishing game lady. And she was like, hey, I just want to let you know your son was down at the river fishing where he wasn't supposed to be. We took his fish and confiscated him. Did he tell you anything about this? Of course I didn't tell him anything about this. I'm not trying to get grounded, you. Middle of summertime. On an island where you're basically free to do what you want. Like, my curfew was dark, and if you know anything about Alaska, like, it doesn't get dark. Summertime. Not till way later. So we're like, I'm telling my parents the story. I was like, yeah, so this guy up here out of nowhere, and I was like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. He just happened to be in the truck. The fishing game truck. Like, the guy that I was talking about was in the fishing game truck. He was a fishing game cop who came in, like, so he was a spotter, I guess. That's how I describe him, that saw us doing these things. And then she was waiting for us to, like, do the cop part, the good cop, bad cop thing. Like, that was kind of crazy to see how that system went down. So that was like my first experience, but it gets different. It still gets keep going. So, but she continues to tell us about the story of why those fish were on the bank, and they weren't spying or anything. There was a big poaching operation going on where somebody was snagging these salmon out of the river using these big treble hooks. They would take that solder or those big lead spiral weights and wrap it around the shank of those and cast them on to snag fish, which explains like the claw marks inside of these fish, like eagles or bears maybe. There was a big poaching operation that was going on. These people would snag these fish, they'd pull them into the bank, and then they would hide them in the woods. And later on, a guy on a boat would come by, land on the shore. The other guy would throw the fish in the boat and then jump in the boat, and they would take off to the salt. And this would go on throughout this river. But I guess apparently we had spooked the guy. So he ran into the forest and left the fish there on the bank so that we wouldn't identify him, which I had no idea. This is going on. This is crazy. So she'd ask if we had seen anything or heard anything. She explains us to like what's going on and why we can't fish there and how we could have been part of this big poaching scheme if this other guy wasn't watching. They knew what we were doing long before we saw them. Like he said that the matter of time that we were there, he had seen what we were doing. And it took him that long to get over to where we were. So like anything we would have said, we would have lied, we'd been in trouble. Which we didn't. We just didn't know. But that's when I found out about like poaching. Like she was telling me about how much it cost the government, the state, how much it costs fishermen, like how many salmon you could possibly lose just by losing females' eggs. You know what I mean? Like just how much it would cause the ecosystem. It destroys it. And this just goes on all over the state. She was saying like how there's just millions of dollars, and it kind of just opened my eyes. I'm like, whoa, this is a real problem. That was from an early age, and I just kind of like that kind of happened, went on. And after that point, we followed the rules. I read the rule books, which was much thinner than what we have in Washington. When I went to Washington and saw the rule book here, I was kind of blown away. I thought I was going to have to pay for that. It was the size of a book. It was huge. It was a lot to read, but I read it. The last thing I want to do is get in trouble with fishing game. It's got to be playing around. It was kind of weird to see it in action, like, without even knowing what a poacher was. It took years to actually fully grasp what happened. It actually, when I was in college recently, like in 2020 is when I started college. I'm graduated now, but like all these reports and things we had to do and research and stuff that I did most of it on like poaching incidents. And I loved it. Like, yeah, I'm passionate about it. I think getting poachers caught or just exposing their methods and madness of how they do things and why they do things. I enjoy it. And that's why I created this YouTube channel exposing poachers, because I enjoy the stories. I enjoy doing the research. And the work is fun. And I think the more people that know about it, the more chances of the people out doing the hunting and fishing to notice these things, maybe they could say something, get people caught up so our systems can be fruitful and productive. But that's why I started this channel. But the poaching part, the bad stuff, the turnip stuff, I can probably explain that. I'll just explain that too in a different story, in a different video. But that's where this comes from. It's the poaching. It's the poaching stuff. So if you're interested in poaching stories, all that stuff, man, like, subscribe, share. I know it's all YouTube craziness, but that's what's gonna happen. And again, like one time I was in the wrong spot, the wrong time, and it ended up being I was absolutely in the right place, the right time. And it's happened a lot in my life. I have a lot of stories where I was like, man, I'm in trouble, but it ended up being a blessing. It's weird. And if you're younger and watching this too, these things will happen to you too. You'll notice it. It won't be right away, but it'll happen. But yeah, that's the story of why I reported about this poaching stuff.